Well, good morning. Welcome to Prepping for Prosperity. I am Steve Smith, and how are you all today? It's a beautiful day. You know, every day is a beautiful day if you have the right attitude. It's 17 degrees, but the sun is out. We went out and had a nice bonfire and picnic with some friends last night, and it was snowing. It was beautiful at sundown and even after dark, the snow around the campfire, it was just great. I just put one up over on, I just shot one and put one up on the Patreon channel. And I call it A Tale of Two Grandfathers. It's a story of my two grandfathers and how each of them responded to the Depression in slightly different ways, and the difference in how that turned out for them. There are great lessons in there. By the way, welcome to all the new people. We just have people keep joining the YouTube channel here. Share this channel. I'm sure that you know people who could benefit from this. It's great to have you here, but don't keep it a secret. Go ahead, make sure that you're subscribed, hit the bell. Give me a thumbs up if you would, because if you like it, because that does help. I understand the algorithm. We do want to build a channel because we want to get this message out to more and more people. Too many people are struggling. They don't know how to get ahead. It's not that they're not smart. It's just that they haven't thought about it. And most people are not raised with an entrepreneurial spirit. Most people are not raised to be creative. Most people are not raised to step outside of the system. And it's scary, So this is one of the things that I want this channel to help people with, is to help them see, first off, the path and then the possibility. Really going outside the system, stepping off the main path and forging your own way, because your greatest success does lie down the path of your original thinking. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about your job is the seed, but your business is the tree. So anyway, so share this with people, and come join us over. If you're not with us on Patreon, we keep having people join over there every day, and it's really, I make sure that I put extra content over there that really is going to help you in your quest to better yourself, to better your financial position, to better the financial security of your family. Okay, and we do that through a preparedness mindset. So today, the story of my grandfathers was very interesting. It taught me a lot, and it has been the basis of many of the things that I've done in my life. So it's difficult for many people to step outside of a normal job. Now, some people are forced to do so. They've lost their jobs. A lot of people are losing their jobs. If you look around, who was it? Meta just laid off 10,000 more people. We're seeing the tech companies laying off people right and left. Maybe that's you, maybe it's not. But we're seeing, as this economy keeps on going down, as we see these bank failures and the ramifications of that ripple through the rest of the markets, we're going to see more and more people losing their jobs. Some people are going to be forced into what I'm talking about, in which case, just follow me and do the best you can. If you're fortunate enough so that you're not being, excuse me just a second. If you're fortunate enough so that you're not being forced into it, that's great. You know the old saying that the best time to find a job is when you have a job? Because it's one thing, as employers look at it, well, if you're not employed now, why not, right? But also, it's not just that, it's the financial security. You don't want to be scrambling around out there when you don't have a job, trying to find a job. It's difficult, it's stressful. So if you're fortunate enough to have a job right now, great. If you're not, do everything you can to find a job. The jobs are lessening. There are still jobs out there available. So go get one. It may not be your dream job. It doesn't matter. Start bringing the cash, the money coming in, because your job should not be your final goal. Okay. So whatever your situation is there, That job is the beginning point. And here again, I said, if somebody doesn't have a job and they're coming into this in a slightly different way, it can still be done. Your job is your seed. Your job is where your prosperity starts. Okay? Now, it's where it starts here, on the physical plane. It really starts with your seeking God's guidance. Simple as that. Ask God to guide you. Ask Him to use you for His purpose. And that is really the starting place. Then the next place is to, grow where God planted you. Okay? In most cases, that's going to be the job. And then do that job. And then the important thing is don't stop thinking there. Don't rest in that hammock of a job. Too many people have. In past generations, you've been able to. Somebody would get a job, they'd work there all their life. Now it's much different. They say that the average, and it's been some time since I read these figures, but they say that the average person changes careers. I don't mean jobs. I don't mean like promotions, but entire career, something like 6 or 7 times during their occupational life. Now, that for the most part, that's not doctors and lawyers and things like that. Although I do know lawyers who have quit and gone on and done other things. But it's not like the old days. You don't get a job and rest in there and work your 9 to 5, come home, put your feet up, wait, have dinner, go to bed, and go do the job again. We live in a much different world, and thankfully so. Now, those who were truly prosperous never did live that way. They always saw a job as a starting point, and this is what you should do. The job provides money for your basic sustenance. If you're able to put a few dollars away and save, good. But a job is never going to make you affluent. And there's nothing wrong with being affluent. And if you have a goal, you should shoot for being affluent, for being prosperous. Who was it that said that the problem is not that we aim too high and miss the mark, but that we aim too low and hit the mark? Too many people have low expectations for themselves. If you're here on this channel, you probably don't. You have higher expectations. You want to get better. You want to build greater prosperity, more financial security for both yourself and your children and future generations, and that's exactly what you should be doing. So the job is simply the seed. That's where it starts. What you find to do creatively, what you find to build yourself, your business, whatever kind of business that may be, your business is what's going to bring you prosperity. Okay. You cannot save your way into prosperity, although saving is a major part, meaning not wasting. Okay. If you're wasting money, that means you're not watering that seed. But if you are nurturing that, if you are watering that seed by saving, that's good. But that's the seed. Now you have to do something to add to that. What's that going to be? And that is your business. Your business is the thing that provides prosperity. It could be a small business. It could start as a small business. I know a guy, and you probably know plenty too, that when everybody was losing their jobs back after the 2008 crash, this guy had a corporate job, lost his job. And I knew a bunch of people who lost their jobs. A lot of them just sat around and waited to get new jobs in their field. I had 2 neighbors that were, one was a very high healthcare administrator. This is back before healthcare took over everything. Very, very high healthcare administrator. Lost his job making big money. I had another neighbor who was, IT. Lost his job. They both sat around and sent out their resumes and tried to find jobs just like what they had. They were out of work for months, a long time. I think one of them almost a year. And finally, both of them got jobs, and they had to travel all the time. One guy was over in the Middle East all the time. His family was here. He was gone. The other guy with traveled was gone through the week. At least was able to be here on weekends. What kind of life is? They lived like that for a long time. Another guy, instead of going out, he had a high corporate job too. You know what he did? He took his lawnmower out and he started cutting people's grass. Now around here, you can make a pretty good lick cutting grass. I remember when I cut grass as a kid, I did it for $2 a lawn. Out here it's $60 a lawn. One of my nephews just started a lawn care business. It's just booming. But this is back to this guy. He just took his old push mower and he went out there. He wasn't too proud. He went out there and found people to cut their grass and built a business and never went back to his corporate job. He says he just loved it. He never would have thought he would like something like this. But he said he didn't have the stresses of a corporate job. He was out there with his lawnmower. He was out in the sun, in the fresh air, getting exercise all day long, meeting people, building good relationships with other people, building a business. And that business became successful. And that's the business that he has now. And it's a business he's going to be able to pass on to his kids. How simple is that? How much is that kind of like? Did I already mention here that I put one on the Patreon site, the Tale of Two Grandfathers, my two grandfathers? I really suggest you get over and watch those. Watch that. Your business is the engine of your prosperity. Many people, when they get started, and I'll talk about particulars in this in future videos, but I wanted to lay this out as kind of an umbrella, an overview of business. Did you know that more people want to own their own business than want to be professional athletes? That's interesting. I read that somewhere, I don't remember where, and I found that interesting. But what that means is people want to be in control of their own lives. They want to be able to express themselves. They want a situation in which the rewards of their work adequately reflect the energy they put into it. They want a situation in which they're appreciated, which many people don't have in their work, right? No matter how hard you work at your job, you're going to get paid the same thing. And that's hardly an incentive, is it? I know that people will do their jobs properly because that's just the right thing to do, but it's not an incentive. Making other people rich is not the way to get ahead. So I found that interesting, that more people would rather own their own business than be professional athletes. And I understand why. Because even though it's hard work, it's energizing work. It doesn't tear you down, it builds you up. Because as you are creating, as you are thinking, as you are building up a business, you're being fed. You're not being drained. You see the results of your efforts. Now, at first, it can be difficult. If you're just now starting off, it can be difficult. It takes a while for something to catch on. That guy, I'm sure that he didn't go out and have 20 lawn mowing jobs, right off. He got one, and then he got two, but after a while, he was able to look back and say, look at that. It all started with one. And whatever you do, it's going to start with one. One doesn't seem like a success, but one is simply another seed. And then two. And you might, if we're using the tree analogy, I have an apple tree out here that took several years, and finally there was one apple on it. And I said, man, it was a nice apple. It was a beautiful apple. So I picked it and I brought it in and I sliced it up and I let everybody have a slice. The next year, I think it produced 2 or 3. One, not more than 3. After a few years, it almost got to the point I almost cut that tree down to make room because I was mad. I was irritated. Man, come on, you've been here for 4 or 5 years. You're not doing anything. You're wasting space. I could plant something else here that would produce more. Sometimes you have to do that. I'll use that analogy as something else in business. You can pursue something so far that it's just not working out and you got to stop. But that's a lesson for another time. Last year, there were so many apples on that tree, we couldn't eat them all. A lot of them became compost. There were just too many. And now I'm thinking, well, what should we do? We probably should go out and sell them on the roadside. But think about this. Your future is in your hands. We say that all the time, but it really is. It's in your hands. Your job is just the seed. It's not the tree. It's not going to produce abundantly for you. It's going to give you a basic sustenance of living. It's the tree of your business. It's the tree of your personal efforts that's going to bring the prosperity that you want and is going to allow you to build the kind of life you want. A life of independence, a life that's free of stress, a life that's full of joy, and a life that is full of promise for the future. So I hope that you've gotten something out of this. Go over to if you're not with us yet, and for all those who are with us on the Patreon channel already, you're going to enjoy that story of the two grandfathers. If you're not with us, please come join us. I say that because it will help you. The information that I put over there will help you so much. That's where your education really takes off. Okay, you all have, and the link is down below. Just get down there, hit the link, come join, and get on board. You all have a good day. Remember, your prosperity is in your hands, and we should always be thinking about preparing for prosperity. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.